What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Let's Go podcast, episode number 2. This is kind of crazy.
And of course, on the second episode, we have
None other than let me do this. I got it. I should
Go ahead.
Yeah. He's like, go ahead. Seriously. So I met this guy actually at a latte art throwdown that I was filming at, not too far away from our coffee shop in the Lehigh Valley, and it was very like out of the blue. Wasn't expecting it, but a friend. I would say like a what is that word? Like someone that we have a friend.
Mutual connection.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's say that. That was like, you guys need to meet each other, and we met, and little did I know that he would be open to meeting with me and with Mandy about possibly working here. He came when this place was an absolute disaster of a construction site and was open to working with us and has a lot of cafe background. He knows everything Carhartt, everything Levi jeans. We have to get into this. I mean, there's a lot to this guy.
D&D.
But also, if I may just say, probably one of the funniest individuals I've ever met in my entire life. None other than Tyler. What did we call him earlier today? Tyler Pistachio Pacioli.
Yep.
That was a crazy intro, man. Thank you.
He's like, keep going. Just
Thank
keep
you
going.
for having me.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks for being here, man. This is so fun. So, all right. So we're here. We're at Let's Go Coffee. We're excited. We just finished a whole day of work.
Dude, this is so embarrassing. I have brand new shoes on.
No way, really?
Yeah, so everyone watching is like, this dude.
Why is it embarrassing, though?
Because he was
I don't
telling
know,
us earlier about how when you have brand new shoes, it's embarrassing to like have brand new shoes.
Yeah, because it's like you're walking down the street then and everyone's like, this guy. has
This
new-
guy.
Brand new shoes? Yeah, what do you like, your new shoes? It's like,
Are they giving you blisters?
no, they're actually very comfortable.
Dude,
They're Vans.
Vans Authentics, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be a Vans hater,
Actually.
but I'm giving them another shot.
All right. Dude, the Authentics are very comfortable from the beginning, I will say.
I'm more of a Chucks kind of.
I am too. I've always been more of a Chucks guy. I used to wear Vans like in high school and stuff.
For sure.
But I think the quality's dropped off, and yeah, I'm testing these out in the coffee shop. Just
Dude,
seeing how
there
they.
you go.
We have a lot to
How
get
they hold
into,
up.
and I'm actually curious. I kind of want to start with the fashion side of things, but real quick before we jump into it, just so people know, which is actually, if I could say one more thing, actually, it's interesting with Tyler because Tyler is on staff here at Let's Go Coffee, an amazing barista, and really, it's interesting. He has not preferred to not be on social media, just like on our coffee page, social media, which we've been respectful of. It's all good. We're not forceful in any way, but he was willing to be on the podcast, which is kind of cool. So if you're a regular, you probably know who he is. If you're not a regular, he works here. We're super grateful that he's here with us. And I just wanted to just really quickly, if you could just introduce yourself, kind of like give us a general, like, who are you? Where are you from? Give us in a nutshell.
Yeah. So my name's Tyler.
Yes, sir.
And I'm drinking a vanilla Americano right now.
Is it good?
It's actually really hot,
Yeah.
and I just burned my mouth.
Just burned my mouth.
So
Perfect.
yeah, I grew up in Easton, Pennsylvania, and yeah. Do you want me to go into like how I got into coffee? Or?
Actually, I would love to know. Yeah, I mean, generally, so from Easton, grew up in that area, but then like, yeah, how did this coffee thing start for you? Like, how did this all begin?
Yeah, so I actually kind of tripped and fell into all of this.
And that's just the best.
Did you have brand new shoes on at the time?
No,
Sorry.
no. I usually
Bad
wear
joke.
Too soon.
I usually wear extremely beat up shoes. Usually they're secondhand because I'm an eBay secondhand demon. But
Your shoe game is fire, if I may say.
it's better when I'm not at risk of dropping a bunch of hot coffee on them too.
That is a risky game, honestly, for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll get into how you got into fashion, but I am curious how you got into coffee.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting
No.
sidetracked.
I maybe we might have to just let it be. I don't know, but we'll go with coffee to start.
So I got into coffee. So I went to Penn State for college. You guys know that. You don't though.
it's okay.
The crowd.
They're learning.
So I
Penn
went to
Stater over here.
Yeah. So I went to Penn State, and I got my degree in advertising and PR. And like right around the time I was graduating, the industry like blew up, and not in a good way. Like the job market was just terrible. So I graduated, and I was just bouncing around. I was a server at a wedding banquet hall for a while. I worked at a concert venue for one day. I won't go into that too much, but
Love that.
So and then I ended up, there was a new Starbucks that opened by my house, and I applied there, and then I forgot about it. They got back to me like 3 months later. I went in, I interviewed, they hired me, and that was kind of how I got started. And so it's interesting because originally being a barista was just a job.
Sure.
It was something that I was like, I'll work at this Starbucks for a couple months until I get on my feet again and find something. I feel like my angle is. I'm trying not to only talk to Pablo though,
So I wanna make
Honestly,
sure,
I kind of felt like this entire podcast, I'm pretty much going to say nothing because these two are locked in.
we have been locked in, but it's cool. It's all
Fun.
good.
So I'm just
fact,
here as a pretty face. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I've never worn these sneakers here before. I wore them today because Pablo and I accidentally wear the same outfit sometimes, and he wears these. So I was like, I'm locked in today, and he's not wearing them.
Yeah, I know. Of course, on the podcast too.
So-
That's the case. I've been wearing those for literally the past like 4 days straight.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's okay. You do have Reeboks though,
I do.
and we've gotten
do.
into that.
Oh my gosh. I have
I
you both combined have more pairs of shoes than I think I'll ever own in my entire life.
True. I need to get rid of a lot of them, actually.
Yeah.
But,
Which he said he may let me look at because we're apparently the same size shoe. So anyway, so Starbucks.
So I was working at Starbucks, and I was like, I'm good at this, but the ceiling of how good of a barista you can be at Starbucks is very low. Because
That makes sense.
I don't know how much you want me to go in on Starbucks here.
We can give him a light shout out.
Yeah, I would not recommend that you go there for your coffee. I would recommend that you shop local, support local coffee shops.
Of course.
Of course. And yeah, I just, the quality of the drinks there is just not, I think, up to standard. And
Yeah.
so I started looking at other coffee shops in Easton, and I actually started working at an independent shop. And I was doing that when I met you.
Right. And do you think, how have you, so obviously coming from Starbucks, kind of the operation of that, how that's worked, and I'm sure you learned a thing or two, probably just in the immediately jumping into the barista game, so to speak, but then moving to a mom and pop shop, so to speak, or an independent coffee shop. I guess, what have you loved about that? I'm sure the vibe is totally different. I'm sure the skill sets are different. You would think they're similar, but in a really weird way, they're actually not. So,
I think the main thing that frustrated me with Starbucks is that it was mainly speed focused. It was, how fast can I make this drink because you're going through a drive-through. And
right.
I think the spirit of cafe culture is that you can walk in and just take a breath and just call, it's a nice place. Like here, we have,
right.
We've got art on the wall. It's this is Mandy's collection of art.
Yeah.
The design choices, and it's kind of you walk in, and I know the regulars now. So I come in, I talk to them about things that I know about their life that they've shared with me.
Sure. Yeah.
And it might take, 5 minutes for you to get your drink. But I think people that are coming to a cafe like this understand that and know that, I'm coming here because I'm going to sit down.
Right.
So
not rushed.
Yeah. And that's really what I appreciate most about working at an independent shop is the relationships that you can build with the regulars. Not that it's very deep.
Sure.
Most of the things that we talk about with regulars are pretty surface level, but
of course.
at the same time, I see them, some of them every day.
Right.
And they come in, they order, they come and they sit down, and when their drink is ready, it's ready. And I don't really ever, feel like people are watching over me like a hawk and waiting,
Right.
And there's no Tyler, you took, an extra 3 seconds to make that drink that's, not up to standard. And I feel like the speed aspect of it is really what frustrated me the most working at Starbucks. It was more about how fast can we do this versus how well can we do this?
I was gonna say, and I think in an independent shop, locally owned, you're getting something a little more handcrafted rather than like machine exact. I mean that's like a business thing that you want them to be as close as they can be, but I feel like with Starbucks, it's like A plus B equals C, and that's it. There's no other room for creativity or anything different because it's just a machine at that point.
And
not to hate on them.
No.
I do like their medicine balls.
Fair enough. Everybody has their stuff.
Yeah.
To that point, actually, I was going to ask Tyler this too, because being a barista is a job that I would say you can come in, you can clock in, you can like learn what you have to do, and then get out. But I have learned about you, just spending time with you, learning stuff from you. Honestly, like you have like a deeper love / understanding for like coffee and how it works, why it's the way that it is, what's a good shot versus a bad shot, what's a good drink versus a bad drink, and we've messed around even with like your common drink and making it a little uncommon and had some fun. And so I guess just where did that, like, obviously I'm assuming it didn't come from Starbucks. You kind of like got your feet wet there and then you moved into an independent shop. What like, when did that transition happen and why do you love, like, maybe just talk about that love that you have for the game of coffee, let's say.
Yeah. So it, and I'm by no means an expert. I have not been doing this all that long.
But you have a love for it. Like
I do.
Like it's interesting to you, right?
And it adds up quick too. Like you make a lot of lattes all day long. It's not like one a day.
No.
A couple days. It's like you make multiple all the time.
Yeah.
So you can learn pretty quick in this kind of
definitely put some reps
kind
in.
of world.
But I can tell you have like a love for it. And like,
I do.
What is that to you? What does that mean?
Yeah, I think it started with when I was a student. Coffee was a part of my everyday life. It was, I needed a motivation to be able to go to my school's library and work and sit there for hours. And sometimes I was up until, 2, 3 in the morning doing my work. And what got me through all of that was I would go to the little cafe at the bottom of the library and get like a cold brew or, an iced Americano. And that was my treat,
Sure.
The way I was paying myself to sit down and do all that work. And then it just became something that, some would say it's an addiction where if I don't drink a certain amount of coffee, I have a crazy headache.
That was her today.
I would call it a love of the game.
I only drink one a day, sometimes 2. But if I don't drink that 1 cup of coffee a day, I will feel it the next day.
I've noticed that if I get deep into a day and I didn't have coffee yet, I start to. I don't know if it always comes as a headache, but I feel like a weird like.
Yeah, that's called an addiction.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's great.
No. To all our regulars that come daily and get coffee, you're not addicted to it, okay?
You love the game.
You just really like our coffee shop and you want to keep coming and spending money here.
The art is amazing.
It's like you're in fact locked in is actually what we call that.
Yeah. But I think on the side of it that, once I started becoming a barista,
Sure.
What got me interested was I just needed something to care about. I was in a rut where I was struggling to find a full-time job in my degree field.
Sure.
And then I got that break getting hired at there's a coffee shop in my hometown that was like the pinnacle of coffee for me.
For sure. You can shout them out too. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's Three Birds Coffee House in Easton.
I've never been. I've heard amazing things.
It's a great coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's on our list of places to go, but we try to go when you're there, and that's always the busiest time here.
Everybody should try it.
Dude,
it's a great place.
We're about I don't know if I've ever even told you this. Mandy and I, like, anytime we go anywhere, doesn't matter what city, it could be down the road, could be like hours from here, we like to go to the local coffee shop and just like try it and whatever. And honestly, Three Birds, I've heard great things. I've seen great pictures. Like and from you, you've told me a lot of great things. I'd love to go check it out. So yeah, we're like in support of any shop.
All local shops.
That was the start of when I was like, oh, I really want to know more about this. Was seeing, because the Starbucks ceiling only went so high, and then I started working at Three Birds, and it was oh my God, you can go so much further with this.
Right.
And I started like getting into latte art and learning different designs, and it was something to be good at a time when I wasn't feeling like the best about my current situation. And I think caring about coffee and wanting to get better at latte art and knowing as much as I possibly could gave me a sense of purpose at the time.
That's cool. Good. You're good.
I was just going to say, I kind of found coffee when I was at a low point too. So it's kind of like ironic.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah. And then you're like, I think coffee is a really good entry level thing. You can know not much about it and still enjoy it and like it and
Sure.
taste like the taste of it and all the things and really not know much about it. And you can go also really far into it and the science behind the roasting, or you can go behind more of like the crafting and cafe side of things. And it really, it's up to you how far you want to go with it. But I think also being an advertising major too, for you, it's a creative outlet. It's like you're still using that part of your brain that you would in advertising, and you're just using it for a different reason and purpose, and to fill gaps as you kind of figure it out. And just like openly, you are moving on into your advertising career, hopefully. And so you're only with us here for a couple weeks in the hours that you are.
I'll be making guest appearances.
Yeah.
He's like, not just on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also.
Your art will last a lifetime on the Instagram account.
True.
So then you have, but like you are moving on,
true.
and like we're happy for you and we love that you're here. And like that's why I was like, let's catch Tyler now before he leaves. So
Hey, I mean, there's always the possibility that I get fired and I have to come back.
Yeah,
so.
right.
yeah, it's true.
He's like, may happen.
We don't also need to go to like you getting fired. You could also just like quit and like want to come back too. So
Yeah, that
we're
too,
always here.
sure.
Yeah.
Regardless. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I think that's that's the fun thing about coffee is like you can take it as really simple. There's black coffee drinkers that come in here, they know nothing about it, but they've drank black coffee their entire life. And then there's people that know a lot more and a lot more details and stuff. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, aside from coffee, yes, you're a barista here, you do a great job, and we're super grateful to have you. Tell us like something else fun. We were talking about like fashion or D&D, your eBay world. There's like other elements of Tyler that are not just as a barista. What's your favorite one?
I mean, the eBay world probably leads into fashion, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. So
How does it make you view?
Multifaceted.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's all creative.
It is.
Fashion is, D&D,
Lowballing people on eBay.
Yeah, right.
lowballing
You
people.
gotta get creative with those offers.
On art, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so like pick what's your favorite one and like share with us why you do that. First of all, I'll just pick it for you actually. So you got a new tattoo. You are a person with one tattoo.
Oh,
I'm a guy with one tattoo.
Embarrassingly
Dude,
enough.
It's worse than having none, actually.
I just think about that day that you like literally came up to me and you're like, dude, I think I'm getting my first tattoo. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like when we started talking about it and you were like, yeah, though, I don't want to be that guy with just one tattoo. And I was like, I've never thought that thought.
It's just, it's like having like brand new shoes on. It feels embarrassing, you know? Like
so you have your first one tattoo and a brand new pair of shoes here. You're like 2 strikes.
I know.
That's crazy. Okay, so what is your first tattoo?
So I'm not going to show it.
That's fair.
If you want to see my tattoo, you can come in and buy a $7 latte.
That's a good marketing tool.
And then I'll show you my... If you buy a latte and you tell me you watched this podcast episode on the Let's Go YouTube channel or wherever you're posting this, I actually don't know. I'll show you my tattoo.
There,
But-
that perfect, great.
The funniest part about that is people are going to come in looking for you, and you're going to be at your other job.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone.
You got a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
You better come now. So it's,
tattoos, fashion, like
Yeah.
the whole
So I guess we can start with my tattoo.
thing. Yeah, man.
So my tattoo is of my D&D character. He's a kobold cowboy gunslinger
I love
that I
that.
made a custom class for.
I love that.
So
Amazing.
if you're not familiar with D&D, kobolds are like little dragon people.
Yes,
They're dope.
they are.
They're like dragon humanoids. So I have
gotta
that.
learn. So okay, let's just start there. D&D.
Dungeons and
How'd it
Dragons.
happen? How involved are you? What do people need to know?
So D&D stands for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, sir.
I got into it about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So my one of my best friends from childhood got into it with his friends in college.
Okay.
And then he wanted to, so he was a player.
Oh,
He had a character and he was in a campaign, but he wanted to be a dungeon master or a DM.
Okay.
So we said, yeah, we'll be your players for your campaign. And then he wrote a story, a full story, and it has been using it as like an outline for our campaign. So this campaign... Oh,
So
sorry,
is
go ahead.
D&D like never ending?
It does, yeah. So D&D... I actually was watching a podcast episode with John Bernthal and Deborah Ann Wall.
Okay.
They play the Punisher and Karen Page in Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
And she actually is teaching him in this episode. I just watched it like yesterday about
Okay.
D&D. And he asked, isn't the point to win? And she said, no, the point is to tell a good story. So I think that's probably the most like concise way to put it, is that you can't win and there's no end. It only ends when you agree to stop playing.
So it's just like an alternate universe, essentially. Like it's a different world. You're just playing within that.
Yeah.
The one thing that always interested me about D&D is that like I never, there's no like it's another world, so you kind of set the rules. Like there's no like here like in the real world, like life is just like there's laws and rules and like things you got to do and money you have to make to like pay bills. It's all this stuff. But like D&D is like not that way. And I've always been interested in like who makes the rules. How are the rules set? Like, can you break a rule? Like,
Good question.
all these, I mean, there's so much we can get into, but just
So there are rules.
of course.
So right now, Dungeons and Dragons, the official rule book is on the 5th edition. So they come out with new editions every so often, and they add different like technicalities and rules.
Interesting.
And so,
Okay. So there is like almost like a hierarchy to some degree.
yeah,
Like
there's a guidebook.
there's a guidebook.
So
Okay.
there is like Dungeons and Dragons is a game, an official game. You
Got
don't
it.
have to play by those rules, and oftentimes people don't.
Sure.
So in my current campaign, we use the 5e book, the 5th edition,
Got it.
as a general guideline.
I understand.
But, sometimes for the sake of telling a good story or having fun, sometimes, a perception roll of 9, you can tell what's going on, even if maybe
Sure.
a 9 doesn't technically pass.
I see.
So you play this game. Again, another world of creativity.
Yeah.
And so is it a board game? I'm like super ignorant towards this game.
Okay,
Growing
so-
up, all I ever knew of D&D was like if it was on a TV show or something and people would like allude to it and they would say something about it and it was always it was not seen as good. Like it was weird, like so it was
Yeah.
like I don't
There
know
was
another
a-
way to put it. And that's really all I ever know because I'm not a huge gamer or anything.
Right, right,
So
right.
When D&D came out in the 80s, I think it came out in the 80s. Don't quote me on that. I don't know.
It's been a while.
There was a big push from like older the culture in the 80s, especially from the older generation at the time, was very conservative, very Christian. So when they found out that kids were playing a role-playing game where you're like role-playing as like a demon or something, they thought it was like a satanic thing and sort of like blasphemous. But in reality, it's not. It's just a game, And so
Sure.
to answer your question, no, it's not a board game, but you buy like a map, and it's basically a grid, and each grid is a 5x5 square,
right.
5 foot by 5 foot. Not actually, but it scale wise it is.
Yes. Right.
And a lot of people choose to play with what they call minis. So you
Okay.
have like a little figurine that represents you.
Right.
And then your character per turn has a certain amount of movement, and you
Sure.
can use the little grid to, track where you are. And then, so in my campaign, if we're doing a big like combat thing, we'll roll out the map. The DM will draw the map of where we currently are.
I see.
And then you kind of just sit around a table with your friends and hallucinate for 3 hours.
drug free, I guess if
Yeah.
you choose.
Well,
True.
depends on who you're with, I guess.
That's
So
kinda
yeah,
crazy.
so we play every Thursday.
That's cool.
and it's usually most people when they play D&D, they play like 5, 6, 7 hours at a time.
I've heard it's long. Yeah.
Right now, you know, I'm 24. Most of my friends are young professionals. We don't have that kind of time, so we play for like 3 hours
Right.
a week.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's really fun. It's a nice outlet, and it really is a choose your own adventure.
Sure.
And
I love
so
those books.
one of the best things about D&D is that there are rules, and there's a guideline, and there's a monster manual with all the different creatures in it. But if you really wanted to, you could use that as a guideline and then put a skin on it and say, you know what, this is actually the Wild West, and the Demogorgon is a gunslinger.
You just say that.
Yep. You would have to tinker with it a little bit, because the Demogorgon specifically, like all the different monsters have like powers that they can use, but
Sure.
you know,
So it's like unlimited and also like within limits to some degree. Like there's like
to some degree, yeah. So like it's a dice based game.
okay.
So the cool thing is, like, all right, let's do this for fun. So okay,
do it.
so you guys are you're in a forest.
Sure.
It's almost pitch black, and
Sure.
you can kind of see the outline of the moon through the trees,
Okay.
and you don't know where you are. What do you do?
Probably call Pablo.
I would. Well,
You don't have a phone. Phones don't exist in D&D.
I would probably look to see like the different like if I could see the stars, like to see where the things are, and that would probably tell me which ways which if I
Okay.
knew them. But
Roll a perception check. We don't have dice, so let's say. So
If
you
we
want to
had
look.
dice.
You want to look at the stars, right? So
Okay.
let's say you roll a 15,
Sure.
and that passes. So you can see the stars. Now, okay.
so I'd have to roll to say that I can do that.
Yes. And so you have
Interesting.
different
Okay.
abilities and stats, and you have certain things that you can upgrade. Like, so they're called bonuses sometimes.
understand that.
Where
So if he can't see it, does he have to come up with another thing to do?
yeah, if
Jeez.
he let's say I
That's
said
too much.
Ooh,
I
so this is
say
a real game.
Let's say I'm like roll perception, and in universe your character is looking up at the stars and going, man, I really wish I could see these, right? And you roll a 3, you can't see anything. The foliage is too thick, you can't see the stars. Now,
Okay.
you have to pivot and find something else to do.
Sure.
But let's say you roll a 15 and you have a +3 bonus.
Right.
So you roll an 18,
Sure.
and I say you can see the stars clear as day. What are you doing now?
So I have to create the next thing or think of on the fly like what I'm going to do.
Yep.
So that's the game.
Yep. So what do? You can see them.
I don't know. I would say probably like I'd follow.
The northernmost one.
Yes.
Okay. So now, like, this is where, like, in this scenario, you're the player, I'm the DM.
Right.
DM's discretion comes in, and it's like, I could make you roll a history check, right? Depending on what type of character you are.
Sure.
Because you might not know that what the northmost star is or why it's significant.
So
if your character is like an orc knight,
right.
you don't know what the North Star is, and you certainly don't know how to follow it. But if you're a monk who's lived in a monastery your entire life, you probably would know.
So what's funny is we went to an escape room 2 weeks ago, and we pretty much had the same scenario, not this specific one, but like this type of thing that like we couldn't figure out. Long story, another day. But like, I check out.
This game would stress you out.
Yeah, I'm like stressed literally listening to it.
But I think I understand the point of it. I think it's an escape for most people.
yes, and I
just-
do understand
to
that
just
too.
live in an alternate
Yeah.
thing, and like you're not in the real world. You're just doing
Yeah.
your own thing. You're having fun. You're with friends. Like it's just a fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a create your own adventure. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Which for
If
some
you-
people is amazing.
If you walk into if you're in a party and you walk into a town and the whole party decides that they want to walk into the local store, you can kill the shopkeep and steal all the stuff in there,
Sure.
or you can walk up, ask them for information about the town, buy some stuff. You know, potentially now you've made a contact in that town. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Right.
that would totally stress
There
me out.
are
Yeah.
consequences to that,
Sure.
but you can do whatever you want.
That's stressful for me. It's super fun. I'm sure it's super fun for a lot of people, and that's great.
I'm sure it's fun.
I have
depending on
friends
who
that
you're
play
with.
it and stuff, but like I make so many decisions all day long that I would never want to go somewhere where I have to make more decisions all the time.
Yeah.
It's just,
And come up with
I
things,
think
but-
everybody ultimately has their thing. You know, like
and it's like
certain
it's a
things.
great hobby and a good outlet,
Yeah.
and it's good for community, and people like get along together and can come up with something together. It's almost like
Yep.
you're writing a book together, like some kind of fantasy story. Like you said, you're just telling a good story.
Yep.
That's cool.
When are we doing the Let's Go D&D session?
Dude,
Just DM us.
I will.
Do you get that?
I did get it.
Great.
I
Okay.
did get that.
That was a good
did get
reference.
that.
Okay.
Speaking of,
I laughed inside.
Thanks, Tyler.
Speaking of stories,
Appreciate it.
speaking of stories, real quick, I have to ask: how do you come up with the stories that you tell people on eBay to get the low
So-
ball deals? I need to, and then we have to get into fashion a little bit too, because it's like a huge conversation we have all the time.
So
How did eBay start?
So I'll give you the full rundown. So
I want to hear it. Yeah.
I, like most young men, at one point, a few years ago, I realized, wow, I dress really bad. Like, it's almost off-putting, I would think, to people.
Like you noticed it about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, not that I'm, the best dressed individual on the planet now.
No. Sure.
But I was like, oh, I need to figure something out. So right around the time that I realized I needed to make a change,
right.
thrifting was getting really popular.
It was.
Thrifting went from being seen as like something that you didn't want to tell people you were doing because it was seen as like weird
Or cheap.
or cheap, yeah, or
Embarrassing.
there was
Yeah.
a stigma tied to oh, your parents can't afford to
Yeah.
buy you the new
Clothes.
clothes, the cool
For
stuff
sure,
from
yeah.
the mall. And
Right.
when I was growing up in middle school, it was very all the girls in my class had Uggs, and there were a couple that had like Uggs,
Bear
the
paws.
same boots,
Right.
but different from a different brand that wasn't as expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
And there was definitely some bullying going on from that. And then I don't really even know how it happened, but thrifting transitioned into being this thing where it was like the thrill of the hunt. We shifted from I want to be like everyone else to I want to be unique from everyone else.
Sure.
And the thrift store gives you that sense of, if I walk into a PacSun and I buy a t-shirt,
Sure.
everybody else in the mall can buy that t-shirt. But if I go into the thrift and I find a really cool t-shirt, like a cool, like beat up, faded vintage t-shirt,
Sure.
and I wear that, no one else has that t-shirt.
It's like the find.
Yeah,
The thrift find.
It's the thrill of the find, and so I got into doing that, and then after a while of thrifting, I realized that I was more interested and more honed in on like what specifically I wanted. So
Right.
rather than going to the thrift and hoping to find it, I just transitioned to going on eBay and Depop and stuff like that.
Right.
And just typing in if I wanted vintage orange tab Levi jeans, I would just type that in with my size, and then there's a whole bunch of people selling that stuff. And
So you're
yeah,
digitally thrifting, so
Yeah.
to speak.
yep,
Interesting.
just shopping secondhand online.
And then how did the fashion side of it become? Like, how did you kind of find like what you liked? Like, because you have come to me with like very specific like names of jeans, names of certain shoes, like stuff, and it's not like insanely crazy stuff. It's just like a style, a specific. How did you kind of maybe like find that style, so to speak?
Yeah, most of it is lifestyle,
Sure.
right? Because no one wants to be wearing a costume. So if you're wearing something that doesn't fit what you're doing, there's a difference. I saw on social media, I think it was on TikTok actually a couple days ago, the difference between style and sauce. And
tell the
style is like, I could theoretically go out and buy a custom made suit tailored to fit me like a suit would have fit in the 1930s.
Sure.
And that's a cool style, but there's no sauce because I don't need that.
Right.
I'm a barista. I get coffee all over my clothes. So I have a beat up old t-shirt and Carhartt pants that I bought on eBay for $12.
That's right.
And Vans.
Perfect.
And they're all dark colors.
All dark colors because I'm getting, coffee on me
stains
all
and
day.
everything.
Right.
And so the sauce comes from when you buy clothing that fits your lifestyle and you wear it authentically.
Right.
Not because I didn't get dressed this morning thinking, man, this one's really going to hit.
Yeah.
It was, okay, I'm going to my barista job. I need pants, shirt, shoes.
So the secret is really in the sauce.
Yes.
Precisely.
And so it's
This is a wild world. I feel old.
Most of my inspiration comes from social media.
Sure.
As many people. Yeah.
I think there's a point where getting started, if you're looking to get into fashion and like developing personal style, there is a lot of value in looking online and
Of course.
seeing, finding an outfit that someone posts online and then trying to recreate it.
Yeah.
But there does come a certain point where you amass enough stuff that you're just wearing it. And I think that is the shift, is you're no longer looking to dress well. You just are dressing well.
You almost become
Yeah.
the thing you were once aspiring to be, essentially.
Yeah. And again, I'm not the best dressed person. I don't post on social media. I don't do fit checks or anything like that.
Yeah. But you kind of found what makes you you.
Yeah, I found what I like.
Yeah.
And I just wear it.
I love that. That's amazing.
It's great.
Is there?
Be you.
I will say one of the funnier things, which is insane, because you've said some incredibly funny stuff here, but the one thing that you did say, which I thought was the funniest, he said, Carhartt jackets. No. What did you say? Blue collar?
I said being a barista is the only blue collar job where you take your Carhartt off when you get to work. And that's a very divisive thing to say.
It is.
Because I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
And then one of our baristas was like, is it really a blue collar job, Tyler? And you were like, is it a white collar job?
That's the question, isn't it?
There you go. So that's the question
Because-
is it blue collar or white collar to do this?
I think I
it's
looked
not
it
white
up.
collar.
That's right.
I looked it up and it's technically pink collar, but I don't really like the
Oh.
term pink collar because the origin of that term is that typically women would be servers and baristas
Right.
and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I understand.
And
Okay.
I'm just not a fan of gendering jobs.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I don't really consider pink collar to be a valuable way
Yeah.
to describe something.
I understand.
I don't like it either because there's plenty of amazing guy baristas and guy coffee roasters and same with girls.
Yeah, and there's
it's
plenty
very
of
equal, I would say.
there's plenty of women that are out doing blue collar work and
yeah.
working in offices and all that, and so
Yeah.
it just feels weird to use that term.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my argument was, I make an hourly wage.
Right.
My brain is part of my job, right? Because I have to know about coffee, but the performance of my job is I'm using my body to make something, right?
Right.
And I think legitimately that being a barista is closer to blue collar than it is to white collar.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would say that.
So you take your Carhartt off.
off.
Yeah.
Because not all.
My vintage
many-
Carhartt that's beat up and I bought on eBay from someone else. And
For-
who wore it to do actual work, and then I bought it from them.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You bought it worn out, so
Yeah.
it looked like
Yeah.
you're. That's so funny, dude.
That's great.
I do not own a Carhartt jacket. It is
No?
just a stereotype, yeah.
Oh, what's the jacket? Oh, Dickies.
Yeah, okay. It's a Dickies jacket.
It's a nice one though. It's
It
a
is.
nice
You just
one.
called him out on that.
I was
This
trying
whole
to think of
conversation
what-
about Carhartt, and you're like, actually, it's Dickies.
Well, hey, listen, that falls in the same
Hey
category.
man, the
true.
pants are Carhartt.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Perfect. Listen, thank you for sitting down with us. I thought this was so fun. Before we go, though, I just wanted to say, what are you excited about right now? I know that Let's Go Coffee has played a part in your life in the most recent months, but and we hope that you obviously are always welcome. You can stick around for as long as you like or whatever. But I know that you're moving on with at least a career path that you're trying to see where that might go. And so I just wanted to kind of see what you're excited about, what's like next for you. Yeah, I don't know, just like what's coming for Tyler.
Yeah, I'm starting a new job.
Yeah.
In media and campaign development in June, so I'm excited to get into that.
For sure.
Not totally sure what to expect, and there's a possibility that I hate it and I quit.
Sure.
There's
And
also a possibility that you love it.
True.
Don't know what you don't know, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be making more money.
Yes.
And
yes, we get it. We know.
yeah,
sure.
A barista can be a forever job for some people, but it's not typically, I would say.
It's not for me.
Sure.
It's for me. I like doing it. It's not a forever job for me.
For you, right.
He's like, actually, I hate it.
Yeah.
I eventually would ideally like to be able to own my own coffee shop.
Sure.
I think that would be an interesting thing to do. And obviously watching you, like I saw this place when there was dust everywhere and
It's true.
It's insane.
people installing, the plumbing back in the bakery. And
Right.
So, and then now seeing it, there's art on the walls, all the furniture's in here. We get full. Like there's people here almost every day now sitting and doing work, and just seeing that transition and
Sure.
the community that we're building here is really interesting for me. So I'm excited to hopefully one day get into that and
Sure.
be able to do something like this in whatever community I end up in.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, realistically, my first job out of college was at a music store. And so, and I do this now. So it doesn't, and I'm not that much older. So it's,
No, we're
10
Right-
years ahead, but it's
right
like
there
there's a
with
lot
you,
of steps in between, and you never know where it could lead. So it's like,
Yeah.
take this next job, see what happens, and then go from there, like one step at a time.
And then if I hate it, I can sling a really good cappuccino. So,
Yeah.
there's always this.
there's always that.
and no matter what, you and Pablo will always stay locked in.
Dude, yes. We will most
Goat 1 and Goat 2.
Dude, go. We're just goated, man.
Glad
you
I
know?
could be
True.
here today, guys. It's all good. It's all
So
good.
if you don't have to share this if you don't want to, but if anyone wants to find you like in any way, is like Instagram handle a thing, or how do you want to?
Please do not find me.
Okay. Do not find this guy. This is the only place you'll
I
ever
have
see
had
him.
that happen before. Please do not find me. If you're a customer and you want to talk to me, I am always open to a conversation at the coffee shop.
So
while I'm
anybody
working.
can find you at Let's Go Coffee.
Yeah, you can find
work-
me at Let's Go Coffee.
You work weekdays currently. That will
Currently.
be shifting with your new job and all the things changing and whatever. So stay tuned. So
Couple
luck
weekends
of
here
the
and there.
draw. You
Yep.
may get the celebrity cappuccino slinger over here.
Right.
And one
Tyler.
day, we'll probably just end on this note. I know that Tyler's dream is to be an old man sitting on a park bench with, is it a black cup of coffee?
Black coffee and a newspaper. Mentally, I'm already there. That's what I'm doing right now.
We're doing it right now.
That's right.
Episode number 2. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in episode number 3, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Follow us at Let's Go Coffee Co. on Instagram. We'll see you there. Bye.